So I thought it would be kind of fun to talk a little bit more about where the I don't need a man post came from. Um, First of all, the whole point of being on TikTok is in the hopes that you might blow up. And it's something that you kind of have to study and figure out how it works, right? And I was doing that, trying to figure out how it works. What is a niche? How do you stick to one niche? Because if you all know me, I like to do everything. So that's like really hard for me to pick one niche. But I started just researching TikTok trends and how, like, what you kind of need to do to attract people. And it talked about, obviously, that you had to pick a niche, and you also have to talk about controversial things, and that it didn't matter if you got positive comments or negative comments. And obviously, as any normal, kind person, you would be a little uneasy with that, because talking about controversial things, you don't want to hurt people in the process of that, obviously. So I was kind of talking about some ideas that I could use and kind of figuring out, and then, obviously me being a married woman and a huge trend being single women, I thought how perfect would it be to talk about something controversial to do with that. And, it to a point, I think as married people, we feel attacked. When you're constantly surrounded by women talking about being single, you totally feel a little bit belittled as a married person, or people roll their eyes because, they're not going through the same thing as you. And so there is a sense of annoyance. I'm not denying that at all. But that certainly does not mean that that video was, I wanted to hurt people's feelings. I did go back and forth on that video. I did also reach out to my family members and my closest friends, just being like, hey, this isn't supposed to be a real thing. I'm just, blowing smoke up people's butts, basically. So, my family and my friends did get a warning that that wasn't obviously realistic. And yeah, I mean, it worked, but it didn't actually work in the way that I thought that it would. I actually started gaining a lot of male subscribers or followers from that video, instead of the negative comments that I just assumed that I would get from women. And so that's kind of where the husband content came into my niche, because you kind of have to go where the audience is, where the audience, who's your audience, okay? And I would prefer female audience. I wanted my niche to be like beauty lounge and like family vlogs, but when you're studying how TikTok works, you eventually find out that people don't give a shit about your, excuse my language, vlogs. People don't know who you are. Why would anyone have any interest in watching my videos? Okay. I totally understand that. So you have to go where the audience is kind of directing you. And this is in any industry. Okay. You don't really get to make up your audience, which, I mean, you do and you don't, I'm hoping eventually I can branch out and do the things that I want to do. And so that's kind of how that started, and it's kind of cool. So if you're looking to grow your page and you want like a little bit of insight, I hope this is helpful. And I just thought it would be kind of fun to explain this a little bit. And yeah, so, do I want to hurt women's feelings by saying some of the crazy stuff that I said in those videos? Absolutely not. I feel actually kind of sick thinking about, hurting someone's feelings. That's not at all what I wanted. So I'm really sorry for if that did, because it's posted to kind of, cause conflict. So not necessarily my personality at all to intentionally want to hurt someone like that, but it's just, I'm playing around. I'm trying to figure out how this works, figuring out what works, what doesn't work. And it didn't really work in the way that I wanted to. Maybe that's a good thing. And it did attract some attention in another way, which I think the males like the advice that I'm giving. I also started another kind of thing where so since that blew up so well in the male perspective, I started doing more videos based around my husband. So I was doing stories about how I met him and how I fell in love, which those also blew up too for the most part. I got a lot of my followings from my husband content, which is super cool. I love talking about my husband, so it works out perfectly. So that was kind of a nice shift away from, maybe the super controversial, I don't need a man thing, which, yeah. But with that said, I still think that I don't need a man is bullshit. Wink. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope this was kind of fun and, kind of sharing some insight on that. I think it's fun. I think it's really fun, but I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings. Not my intention. Love you. Bye. Mwah.